Hi, so we're here at Willmore Wine Bar in Long Beach, and I've brought along with me Neil Koch. He's the winemaker of The Dude, and along with Ernie from Willmore, we're here to talk a little bit about this wine and let maybe Ernie introduce the wine a little bit here as far as how it's doing at Willmore, and then Neil to talk about the backstory behind The Dude.
The Dude is one of our most popular reds by the glass and by the bottle. Our customers seem to love it, and they're very intrigued by the name. There's obviously a Lebowski reference going on with this, but when customers ask me, well, what's going on with The Dude? Where does that name come from? What's the backstory? No idea. So we can get the story straight from the horse's mouth here.
Yeah, so I mean, basically the dude can be anything to anyone, and that's what I tell people. The original background story with The Dude is while I was dating my now wife, on our second date, she brought out one of her dogs to go for a walk, and it was kind of a funny looking dog, and after we started dating for a while, we're now married, but before that, or the nickname for that animal, we called him The Dude, and so that's the background for the wine is the dude is the reference to a dog, but when it comes down to it, the dude can be the dude for anyone. So it could be your dude, his dude, it could be a reference to Lebowski, it's whatever you need it to be. And so the idea behind the Dude and why we kept it as a red blend, a Bordeaux-based blend, and our goal obviously is to have it a high percentage of Cabernet every year, as high as possible. But to keep that price low, we're able to use other varietals, Merlot, Cab Franc, some other blenders, to keep the price reasonable, all Napa Valley wines, and so we have that flexibility, because at the Cabernet pricing, it's just so hard to make it work at a retail, what we're retailing it price for. So, and that's why we started with 2 barrels. We see so many people lose their shirts in the wine industry. They start with a lot of money and they end up a little bit less at the end of the day. So, and so then it's kind of just organically grown, like I said, with Nick's help. And we really don't, we have a couple of markets we hit. This market, we've got certainly the Bay Area since its location is small, right, and then a couple of states, but we really rely on folks like you and brokers like Nick to really push the brand and kind of gain that loyalty and traction where it's a hand sell item,
Well, the first question I always ask when reps bring wines to me is, who else are you selling this to?
Sure.
Around me?
Sure.
In the city or in the adjoining cities or whatever.
Yeah.
And if it's that exclusive, then I'll bring it in.
Sure.
I mean, this is assuming it's not at any of the big box stores.
Right.
It's not on a shelf somewhere. So
yeah, it's places like you here and there that have it. So, and that's kind of how we want to keep it. I mean, kind of that exclusive item. If we run out, we run out. I mean, we sell out every vintage, and it's kind of it's always nice to take more orders, but at the bottom, the nice side of it is that you always leave people wanting a little bit more.
Right.
If they miss out on the vintage, then then it's a call. Hey, you missed out.
That's a good problem.
So yeah, exactly. 6 months later, we'll have something else for you to try. So typically, yeah. So we have a couple different Cabernet vineyards we work with, and those vineyards have some Merlot to them that we blend in. So it's a cab-based Merlot, a cab-based blend.
Is it like a field blend, or do you blend after fermentation?
We blend after typically, so we'll pick them separately.
Okay.
So the majority of the cab comes from Calistoga, Rutherford, and some stuff from Coombsville. So all Napa Valley, areas that we've worked with for a couple of years now. And so we've got a couple of places that we either are flexible with. We go out there at the end of the year and say, hey, we'll take this from you at this price in order to keep the pricing reasonable and blend it all together. But we also have, for the Cab Franc, we have one main supplier that we've used the last 3 years, and they're really solid. Their grapes are great, and we're able to.
Where's that region?
That's actually in Carneros. It's the Carneros part of it, so where the Cab Franc comes from.
Right, cool weather grape anyway. So
Yeah. So and they do a great job. They've been working the land for 20 years. They know what they're doing in terms of production and viticulture. Right. The other aspect too is that a lot of people say, "Hey, where do you make this wine? What specific winery?" We kind of hop around from year to year, and the reason for that is if we can get a better rate to crush.
The crush facility.
Yeah, I mean that's how we keep the price the way it is. So this year we found someone that did essentially our crush work for about $500 a ton. Napa average can be all the way up to $1,500 a ton. So we kind of were nomads in some ways, and we try to pass that on to the end user. So.
And do you bottle at that facility, or do you bring the truck in, or?
So we actually, once we have, because typical maybe be at a couple different facilities just based on tank room and space. So after everything's gone through primary and then secondary, we bring our barrels to those facilities. We fill those barrels, and then we actually consolidate it at one barrel warehouse where we age it and then run it through a bottling line and out to the warehouse. So yeah, so that's kind of the story.